And it's my honor and privilege and the pleasure to share uh, uh, Sprint by Design. It's a workshop / presentation. So feel free to ask me any questions down the road, and we will move on right away. So um, so Foresight. Now, one of the challenges I've encountered as a Scrum Master and as a DevOps guy, and uh, back in the days of legacy as a management consultant, I always encountered a lot of unknowns, and we are in the era of unknowns here as well, right? In terms of all the disruptions that's happening, in terms of post-COVID scenarios, and so foresight planning. It's been in the management books. I've been honored and privileged and researched heavily on this for quite some time. There are different schools of thought in this category, and so I really had a lot of good feedback when I actually shared these workshops and similar similar presentations. So here in Georgia, at the ProductCamp East Coast, I did deliver a couple of Sprint by Design workshops. One was Privacy by Design. This is way before privacy was one of the big topics. And then 2019, that was the last time that I delivered Kanban by Design. So most of my workshops are all by design, because I'm a design thinker, and I've been trained on that. And then so it was a natural evolution for me to bring this up on a customer experience level, where I was trying to improve a lot of product improvements and customer experience. So eventually, I morphed this into a workshop, and I do this on and off on a contract basis, and that's my bread and butter. So I really have a couple of NDAs signed, so I'm not able to share a lot of information related to some of the case studies, but I'll be more than happy to share some of the things which I've encountered, and we'll go from there. Okay, fair enough. So I'm sure you all are having a great time at ProductCamp Austin. I've been to Austin a couple of times, and I love the city. And so I really want to thank once again the sponsors. Actually, going back and forth. I missed the logo about them, but I just want to thank the sponsors, the 280 Group, the University of Texas, and Pragmatic. Is that right? Did I miss any of the sponsors? We had like three, 4 sponsors, right? Okay. So diving down, here we go. So one of the things that I want to share with you as part of this, it's just a simple framework, but there are so many use cases on this particular framework, and so I want to narrow down on just maybe due to time constraints, just like some of the most important sprints that would be very useful to you, so you can really take back something valuable from this presentation. So one of them will be value stream mapping, horizon scanning, just trying to see what's out there, what's disruptive forces that's gonna, as product managers, we should be always be scanning all the disruptive forces. And the other part is, if you're a product manager on a Scrum team, it'll be great to get some tips about retrospective planning. So with deep insights, I just want to have a disclaimer here, where we will be actually as part of the presentation, I didn't mention about that we will dive deeper with the data-driven scenarios. If we have time, I can pull up a demo based on some native cloud applications, and we'll go from there. So going back again, I was trying to do a poll earlier, which playbook that you would like to dive deeper into. So since this is also part of my workshop, some of these playbooks are kind of like designed where you spend a whole day diving deeper into some scenario planning, where you are also trying to figure out what are the root causes as well. Now, why did we actually name this Foresight Sprint? Because we are just trying to get into the next best play. So most of the time, when we do retrospectives or any of the meetings, we always constantly obsessed with what happened. Okay, most of the time, even I mean, we do this naturally. We just, if we have a monthly retrospective meetings or weekly retrospective meetings, we always talking about what happened 2 weeks ago during the 2-week sprint. Then we talk about what happened last quarter. I was actually having a very wonderful conversation with another group of agile coaches, and they were talking about, now we all talk about, about what happened for the last 18 months, and but it's time for us to pause and start scenario planning and trying to move forward as time is of the essence, right? Because we don't want to dwell too much into the past. So I always like to begin my quotes with some of the best known thinkers here, and that's actually Deming. I'm a big advocate of Deming. So whatever ideas that you are actually getting it from this workshop, just take it with a grain of salt. Okay, these are all change initiatives, right? So we really don't want to plow through something that will cause a lot of disruptions. Okay, so Deming's wisdom is always well known, but at the same time, and I think it's time agnostic. It's always evergreen. So whatever I'm actually I'm actually presenting here right now, there are these terms of inferences here. Okay, so anything that you're trying to implement back into your team, always remember that any change that you try to drag forth, you just have to see whether we can do it in the right way. So you may want to introduce these as retrospective planning. That's one of the best ways that you could actually do. So as part of one of my first playbook, just want to share is that about the future state. Okay, because anytime when we do a Foresight sprint, we don't really talk a lot about the past. We are always constantly trying to see how we can move the needle, how we can move further. Are we making progress? So due to okay, so one of the things that we would really like to dive deeper into will be if you are into Foresight Sprint, where, like I just mentioned earlier, that we are trying to present this at retrospective planning. So you have your regular sprint, regular cadence, and most of the times when I speak to teams, they do retrospectives very, not the right way, because there's a lot of hurts being shared, blames, being finger pointing, and other things going on, right? And so some retrospectives, I mean, it's fun. Um, uh, and then you have these game-based scenarios and other things, right? So as product managers, one of the things that you could actually stand up and take ownership will be in terms of how we can improve our next sprint. So this is just an easy way for you to start off. And since we don't have a lot of people here, I would actually ask you to take a piece of paper, and you don't have to share, but think about what's going on within your team, and then just divide that paper into 4 quadrants, and then just figure out how you can improve your next sprint. What is holding you back? Where would you like to go? We really don't want to have, I always go by the rule of 4. We don't want to have a list of like a laundry list of things. It's just the top 4 things that you would like to do. Okay, you don't have to share within this workshop. This is actually for something for you to take it away. Because one of the things I've always noticed, we actually have so much. It's like drinking from the fire hose. You come to a workshop, you got all these great presentations going on, but at the end of the day, something tangible in your hand, it's always great. And it's an old-fashioned way. We are all Zoom fatigued, and we always doing a lot of whiteboarding, taking polls, slacking on the channels. And one of the things I've been trying to do, and just to share this with you, I've been actually detoxifying all the digital things, and I've been going back through a regular notebook, just paper and pencil, and going back to the roots. Actually, believe it or not, it really works wonders. Just a change, and it works very well. Just a small piece of advice. So another item from the playbook, it's the challenging and the ballooning of the technical debt. So this is actually, I actually got it from one of the partners here. So they shared actually 2 of these ideas, but these are pretty much same wherever you go. The sailboat one, and let me actually go back to the sailboat one. I think that's actually bear with me 1 second here. Okay, so this is also another good way of a retrospective game. Now again, the sprint by design, that's actually why we try to do what we do, because with the short time constraint of things that we have, it's really very important for us to figure out how are we doing things on a time crunch, and that's been one of the biggest challenges for a lot of teams, because the real focus has been on product ownership, and what happens on a Scrum team when we as product managers, if you have encountered similar scenarios where the original intent of the product owner was really supposed to be an extension of the team, right? But the Scrum literature itself, focus on the mechanical aspects of the role, like grooming a backlog and just participating in sprint reviews. Some of the biggest challenges in a lot of teams, it has been as a result of the perception of the product owner role, which has been narrowed, that has not been part of the good framework. So these playbooks are actually pretty much universal. If you actually look around, you'll be able to figure out that a lot of thought leaders are actually already implementing this. What I've done is, I've actually borrowed some of the best practices that's already been done, and then morphed that into a sprint. And that's all I have done it. And I have to give some credit to some of these major people. I mean, which they did agree for me to share some best practices when I'm doing it on a volunteer basis. But the challenge is, not many teams have the luxury of having a good sprint retrospectives. I'm just trying to figure out a pulse here. Are we all doing full product management in your career? If you're a startup, you're actually doing it on your own. How many of you are actually doing it on a larger scale, having a cadence of sprint retrospectives? Do I see a show of hand? Do you have a regular sprint retrospective meetings in your teams? Oh, you do. Okay. And is it monthly, or is it weekly or bi-weekly? Could you share on the chat? That'll be helpful. It's always nice to know as well how that's going. So the sailboat scenario, you really have to. This is kind of like a game that actually I have actually spearheaded on this. But you really need to anchor in on the 4 quadrants. Okay, the 4 quadrants which I shared with you in the beginning of this presentation, how well we are doing, what is holding us back, and so from that, you can actually adjust your sail of the sailboat, and then start doing horizon scanning, start doing all the disruptive forces, and all of this is actually time boxed. And so you have a lot of technical depth. If you have a lot of technical depth, and then you're trying to do a lot of things, a lot of innovative stuff, and then you see what's out there, all the trends that's happening, and then you try to do a lot of these things. That's why we go back to the inferences stage, which I mentioned about the words of wisdom from Deming. When we try to do as a team, when we try to do a lot of things together, that's where some of the biggest challenges happen, because we are all battling for time, and we are not able to do a lot of things that we had hoped. We are not able to do a lot of things that we envisioned to be done. And it's so ignoring the technical debt and then trying to do just all the innovative stuff, that doesn't work either, right? You need to strike a balance. That's why the anchoring part of it is very important. You really need to anchor on, especially if you are brand new to the team, and then you've been handed off with a lot of legacy stuff. Actually, I was trying to add a new quote here. One of the biggest challenges that we hear, we don't hear it all the time, but I don't know whether you've heard about this saying, today's Kubernetes is tomorrow's legacy. Today's API is tomorrow's legacy. So all the innovation that you're doing on API integrations and all the community stuff, it's actually come back. It's actually adding to the legacy. I mean, if you worked on since I worked on a DevOps team, I realized there's a lot of containers and other things, that was handed off to this team that was never documented. And so everything is working fine. The product is working fine. We got a lot of good vendors and all the integrations, but there were a lot of Kubernetes applications, that was containerized, and so when the pandemic happened, when they were trying to migrate from one cloud to another cloud, that's when the skeletons came out of the box. Okay, so you don't want to be one of those product managers or product owners to be in that scenario. When you come on board, you better take an audit along with the team. You really want to figure out what exactly has been done before being handed off to you, and so you're able to be the best version of yourself. Because every company has some kind of legacy. Every team has some kind of technical debt, and this is actually a growing problem. And that's why I realized that there's an opportunity for us to improve our craft as product managers to the next level. And there's some kind of ownership in that. And then so the ownership starts with us. We come up and we step up, and we take leadership, and we try to implement what's the best for the team, what's best for the customer. And because time is limited, time is precious, we are not able to implement a lot of good things. And so that's why a lot of thought leaders share their resources. They share the best practices. It's out there. Just keep on reading it, keep on blogging about it. That's why we are all here, on a Saturday morning, right? Think about it. Next week is Thanksgiving. If we have, a lot of things could be done today, but here we are coming as a community of product managers, product owners, trying to improve our craft. It's very important for us to be continually educated, continue to know what's out there, continue to refine the practice, continue to refine the playbooks, how we can get better from 1% to 2%, how we can improve the sprints, how we can improve the next scenario planning, how we can improve for 2022, how we can get out of this state of legacy mindset and move deeper into customer experience. A lot of teams have a lot of great things on their minds. They want to do a lot of innovative stuff. They want to focus more on the customer, but a lot of things are been stuck on a lot of technical debt, and it's a growing problem. And so that's why we are all here together to learn as a community, to learn best practices. So apart from because I was focusing more on retrospectives, because that's what the feedback I got from teams. And so I apologize if I'm not diving deeper into other scenarios that we could actually do. Yeah. Okay. So meanwhile, let me ask the moderator, is there any other questions so far?
There have not been any questions in the chat, and you've got about 6 minutes left.
Okay. I didn't even realize time flew back so fast. So maybe I've been talking too much then. How about if I ask you, do you have any questions? Some of the attendees up here, you're welcome to add and ask more questions. That'd be great. If not, you can always reach me back by email or Slack, and I'll be more than happy to share. Okay, so I just want to dive into a next playbook where this was actually done by me on another workshop. how many of you are familiar with Kanban? Anybody specialized in Kanban? So I'm actually only just touching just the tip of Kanban here. So Kanban, as you know, it's a visual signal, and so you're able to visualize the work in progress, and so that's where I really want to focus on just for the time being. What we are trying to do here is you really create a Kanban board. You can actually create in whatever tools that your company is using, but make sure you actually most of you does the Kanban thing very well, but it actually takes you to the next level too. You really you're able to dive deeper into improving the functionality and also the customer experience of that as well. That could be another time for us to dive deeper, but I just want to touch base on the flow and the value stream for that. So we talked about these earlier. Let's see. Okay. So the other thing which I really want to share, I know we are actually coming down to the final areas here. So
Yeah, Joseph, you got about 3 minutes left.
why don't I dive deep into some Q&A if you have any questions. So some of the feedback that I got about retrospectives, that there's a monthly cadence of retrospective meetings, gatherings, and Steve, could you just unmute and share, how long is the meeting?
I think you're talking to me.
Yeah.
The retros are like an hour. I will admit they're not really diverse. There's usually a talk about what's working and what's not working, but there's not really an open kind of what's holding us back. And I think that's good for you, like a good thing to add.
Right. Okay.
Yep.
Sure. I hope it's not ending up like another sprint status meeting, right? And so actually retrospective is actually one of the best foresight sprints that you could actually, that's where you could actually incorporate foresight sprint, because you are trying to improve the future sprints. And so I've been for the past 7 years, I've been trying to figure out where foresight sprint might work very well, and I've been using it at different segments for all these years. But ultimately, for the past 2 years, I've been getting feedback that it might be well fit, so like a fit for purpose, will be at sprint retrospectives. So why don't we, those of you who participated, it gives me an opportunity to give you a good feedback as well, because these are really time-tested, valuable playbooks, and if you can incorporate it, great. but also as a change management initiative as well. So I just want to be cognizant about the time as well. I really want to thank you very much for attending this short, I would say, a short sprint. And I hope you have gained some valuable insight from this. And once again, the reason why, when we try to implement any kind of change initiatives, I mean, you see, I mean, there's no excitement or anything like that in teams. But when you say, why don't we integrate a Foresight Sprint? So it's a sprint by design, because nobody has time to have another meeting. Nobody has time to have another gathering, another retrospective
Hey, Joseph.
game-based thing. Okay,
Hey,
so
thank you
that's
so
all
much
I
for
just want to
sharing.
add. Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you, Joseph. We really appreciate you sharing. We are out of time, and thank you everybody for attending. And I encourage you all to kind of take a break, stretch your legs before our next session. I believe we have 2 more sessions for the rest of the day. So thank you, Joseph.